Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Rod Shop. Today we're finishing up the A2 frog rod build with some testing, guide layout, and some real world on the water testing, so stick around. Okay, I shot this video a week ago. Well, not the one you're watching now, but the one I thought you would be watching, and I had camera issues, and yeah. So, here's where we're at. This rod is finished. It is paired with the Concept A2 reel 7:3-1. I did eventually move the hook keeper to in front of the reel seat just because I didn't want to mess up this look. That was just purely aesthetics. Probably would have worked better down here, but you know, sometimes it's better to look good than to be good. So, but in this case, this rod is phenomenal. Again, 7.3, heavy, fast, for $147 worth of components, the real components that are on this reel, including the blank. I did a static load test. I started with Gary's guide layout from the NFC website. They actually gave a spiral guide layout. I started with that, tweaked it, put it in my static load tester, moved some guides around, and here is the layout. Now, from the very top, you need to measure these measurements for your running guides. Starting with guide number 1, it's 4 inches, and then you keep measuring 8 inches for guide 2, 12 3/4 for guide 3, 17 3/4 for guide 4, 23 1/4 for guide 5, 29 1/4 for guide 6, and 37 1/2 for running guide number 7. That is the last running guide here. Now, coming from the reel itself, I put my stripper guide a little close because this is a very low profile reel. I didn't need to come out here too far. Now my stripper is at 16 from the reel. Now my transition guide, I put it in my static load tester and started moving the transition guide both around the blank and forward and backwards till I got a nice smooth transition around to my first running guide, which this length for the transition guide for me was 45 from the tip, and I was able to take it further around than 90 degrees. It's more about 120 because that just made a very smooth transition around the blank and into the running guides. The next thing I did was a standard wrap on the stripper guide because it's double-footed, and on the hook keeper, but on my smaller frame single foot guides, I did something that I haven't shown y'all how to do yet. I did show you in the video that didn't work out, but I'm going to make a specific video on this technique, and it's what I call a locking wrap. Now, what it basically is you start your wrap almost to the finish like you normally would wrap a guide, at least the way I've shown you how I do it. And then I cross over behind the guide twice, back over in front of the guide once, and then pull my tag in through. I'll make a specific video this week showing you how to do that, because now I think this is very important on your heavier rods if you're going to use the smaller single foot guides. Is it absolutely necessary? No. But I like it on my frog rods and on my flipping sticks because they take a lot of jarring up close and a lot of abuse, and it just makes me feel a little more comfortable about these small guides being locked in and not being able to pull them out from under your wrap, which will happen with big fish up close occasionally. I'm talking very occasionally, but better be safe than sorry. Anyway, it's good practice. I'll show you in another video. So now real world testing. I took this rod out. I finished it Saturday. I took it out Sunday, fished with the high school team. I was fishing with them, trying to figure out what was going on, throwing a heavy swim bait, a 5-inch swim bait, weighted, and hooked up in the heavy pepper grass. Pulled a fish in, didn't think it was that big. Turned out to be a 3.5 because this rod has got some beef to it. Easy to cast, but still got the backbone. Took it down to the Glades Tuesday and Wednesday. fished it with a frog, gave it to the frog specialist, Captain Lou, with Bassing with Captain Lou on YouTube. I'll put a link down below to his channel. He loved it. It cast a mile with a hollow body frog. And then yesterday I had Dave in the boat with me on Kissimmee chain, and we used it as a Texas rig rod, and he was, a weighted fluke trying to fish down, lower on top of a shell bar in some deeper water. Also worked great. This is going to be one of my favorite rods, especially since it is a heavy, it is a fast, but it doesn't cast like either. It casts more like a medium heavy, moderate, especially with these weights, anywhere from a 1/2 ounce and up. Awesome rod. I love it. Build one for yourself. I think you'll love it too. Now, next up in the rod recipe series is going to be the finesse rod. And the reason that the next rod is the finesse rod is this. Last Friday, I was in the boat, put the rod down where I shouldn't have put the rod down, lost my balance, stepped on the rod, and about 4 casts later, it broke. This is totally on me. This has nothing to do with rod or defects. I stepped on it across the edge. I saw it bend under my big fat foot, and yeah. So I'm going to build a replica of my finesse rod, and that will be the next rod recipe coming up in a few days. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.